aka MrBoxer.com, aka Mr. Allergy motherfucking boy. So what it is, man, you know, the Keith Thurman hate is real, man. I've been meaning to do this video for a while, man. I've been meaning to do this video for a while, man. The Keith Thurman hate is real. You know what I mean? It is real. You know what I mean? And I can't understand that. I can't understand why it's real to this effect. You know what I mean? Someone like Keith Thurman has been in back-to-back tough fights. You know what I mean? Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, even before that, he was lining up a bunch of top welterweights back to back to back to back. So, for me, I'm really confused on why this dude is getting this much hate. I mean, like I said, I've been meaning to do this video for a while. So let me just get right on into it, man. So here's the thing, man. I want to see Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence, man. I think I'm with everybody there. I definitely want to see that fight, okay? I want to see it as soon as possible. You know what I mean? It's a good fight. It's a good stylistic matchup. It's a good fight between two top welterweights, and there are belts on the line. You know what I mean? Like, the winner of this fight is the unified WBC, WBA, and IBF champion of the world. There's a lot on the line here, and it's a big fight. It's a good fight. You know what I mean? But with all that being said, I want to see the fight under the right circumstances. I want to see the fight happen at the right time. I want to see both fighters at the top of their game when they actually fight. I don't want to see one coming off of an injury and the other one in his prime, you know what I mean, been active, you know what I mean, fighting. You know what I mean? We've seen what that looks like, and every time fights like that happen, there's always like a question mark at the end of the fight. Where we're always like, well, yeah, Errol won, but Keith was coming off of an injury. I want to see these fighters fight at the top of their game. You know what I mean? I can't understand why fans, they're so, I got to see the fight now. The shit has to happen now. I need the shit to happen now. I mean, I get the impatience, of course, but how was Keith a bitch and a coward for saying, okay, Errol Spence is not on my immediate to-do list, okay? Immediate to-do list. Like, a lot of motherfuckers didn't catch that part. Immediate to-do list. That means something you're going to do now, okay? How, and just for the people who don't understand, okay? Keith Thurman, maybe like some months ago or whatever, he put out this video talking about, when he was asked about Errol Spence, he put out a video talking about, hey, Errol Spence is not on my immediate to-do list. I have plans for this year. I want to take a tune-up fight, and then I want to fight again in, I guess Sean Porter or Danny Garcia rematch with one of them. And, a lot of people got up in arms about that, saying that Keith Thurman was scared and, he was a bitch and all this other kind of shit. And, first of all, let's address the 2 times a year, okay? Let's talk about that first. All right, the fact of the matter is, most fighters only fight 2 times a year. They might say they want to fight 3 times a year, but they only really fight 2 times a year, okay? And we can go down the list. Most of these motherfuckers only fight 2 times a year. Why? It's because it's a lot harder to make a fight in boxing at that top level, than should be necessary. But that's a whole another topic, though. But the fact of the matter is, most of these fighters only fight 2 times a year just because of lack of opposition, because the time it takes to build a fight, and all these things take months. And then you have to take time after the fight to actually heal and get cleared by all the medical stuff and, all the there's a lot that goes into these fights. They got to make deals with networks, and they got to, all these different things play a role when creating a fight. Like the promoters, they only have a certain amount of dates, and this is a lot of shit that goes into it. So for Keith to say, okay, I'm going to fight 2 times this year, one time is going to be, again, a tune-up, the other time is going to be this fight, and then we can talk about that, reopen that in 2019. I don't feel like that's bad. So because he's not going to fight him this year, he's a bitch? The fight's going to happen. The fight's going to happen. There's no doubt about that. They both without Heyman. The fight is going to happen, period. But why not wait for the fight to happen under the right circumstances? Why not wait for both fighters to be ready for the fight? You know what I mean? Both fighters to be 100% prepared. Keith Thurman has fought 2 times in the last 2 years. He's been very inactive. And a lot of people don't know why he's been inactive. He's probably been inactive because of this very same shoulder surgery or shoulder thing that he's going through right now. That might be the situation. Like, we really don't know why he hasn't fought more often, because Keith Thurman used to fight at least 3 times a year. He used to. But of course, it ends up slowing down, when you get, you try to line up the right fights and that sort of thing. But like, it's kind of ridiculous to me. It's kind of ridiculous to me. Like, shit isn't like boxing fans are like spoiled brats and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want it now. Like, I want it now. Like, the fight's gonna happen. It ain't like no situation with Mayweather and Pacquiao where we just didn't know if the fight was ever gonna happen. Like, that's not the situation. The situation is the fight's gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen this year. Like, first of all, let's look at the time frame. Let's look at that shit. Okay? Keith Thurman unified the belt last year. Errol Spence won his belt last year. 2017. It's 2018. January of 2018. Errol Spence has not been waiting that long. He hasn't been waiting that long for a fight. What has it been? A few months since he won that belt? He hasn't been waiting that long. Y'all chill the fuck out. Y'all don't even make no sense with the shit. To me, motherfuckers is just looking for a reason to talk shit about Keith Thurman, in my opinion. Y'all just looking for some shit, so a reason to talk shit. Because y'all wasn't doing this shit. And you Errol Spence fanatics, when somebody bring up Terrence Crawford to Errol Spence, guess what he say? Guess what Errol Spence say when somebody say, what about Terrence Crawford? He says Terrence Crawford got to get a belt first. That's what he says. But when Keith Thurman said that shit, he was a bitch and a coward. But nobody even mentions the fact that Terrence Crawford, that when somebody brings up Terrence Crawford to Errol Spence, he don't even, he got to get a belt first. He got to do this. He got to do that. When somebody bring up Terrence Crawford, I don't hear nobody talking about that shit. You know what I mean? Nobody at all. The fact of the matter is, motherfuckers got to realize these fighters, they got a plan. They got a plan for themselves, how they want to do shit throughout the year. They got an objective. You know what I mean? It ain't just Keith Thurman. It's Keith Thurman, Sean Paul. All they do, they have an they have a timeline. You know what I mean? Keith Thurman want to tune up, and then he want to fight, rematch Danny Garcia / Sean Porter at the end of the year. I think that coming back and fighting one of those guys before Errol Spence, I think that's a good idea. I think he should do that. I think Errol Spence is at a higher level than those guys. I think Keith Thurman has been inactive over the last few years, and I think Keith Thurman needs to get back active, and he needs to fight top competition and do well against that top competition in order to have a chance in a fight with somebody like Errol Spence. I believe that. I want Keith to be at the top of his game when they fight. Period. I don't want to see no half-assed fight. You know what I mean? I want them both to be ready. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's several reasons why it's just like bullshit that Keith is getting all this fucking hate. Like, y'all need to chill the fuck out. Like, motherfuckers are just itching to just talk shit about something. Like, no, he's a coward because he's not going to fight him immediately. Like, that shit don't make no sense. You know what I mean? That shit don't make no sense to me, man. Like, motherfucker walk up to me saying he want to fight me right here and now, and I'm like, motherfucker, we can fight over here. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, anybody with a shred of intelligence about themselves, okay, the last thing you gonna want to do is put yourself in a situation where the other person's beneficial. The other person benefits to whatever the situation is with you. Motherfucker, I'm gonna fight you when I'm good and ready to fight you. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna fight you when I know my leg hurt. If I gotta fight for my life, If I know my leg's broken, my two legs are broken, and you know what I mean, I got arthritis in my eye, you know what I mean, arthritis is acting up. I got cataracts in my eyes. I'm not gonna fight you when I'm all fucked up like that. I'm not gonna do that. If anything, I'm gonna try to wait until I heal up. Wait until everything is feeling a little bit better. Then I'm gonna get with you. You know what I mean? I did some push-ups. You know what I mean? I'm feeling good. And then I'm going to come back and be like, where that fade at? I'm going to try to avoid that pressure until I'm ready. Why the fuck motherfuckers act like they ain't got no common sense all of a sudden? Because this boxing shit just got to work like how you feel it should work. Come on, man. The man's going to fight him. The man never said he was not going to fight Errol Spence. He never said, oh, that shit ain't happening. Errol ain't ready. He ain't did enough push-ups yet. He ain't say no dumbass shit like that. The man just said the fight ain't going to happen in 2018. It's probably going to happen in 2019. It's more realistic. And it is more realistic. I want Keith to be active at the top of his game when he fights Errol Spence. I want him to be at the top of his game when he fights Errol Spence. I don't want no excuses. I've seen too many fights happen under the wrong circumstances. I mean, Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko. How long has it been since Guillermo Rigondeaux fought before he stepped into the ring versus Lomachenko? Okay, but he's trying to be big shit. He's big shit, and the fans don't appreciate him for fighting no goddamn Lomachenko. All they recognize is Guillermo Rigondeaux got his ass whooped. But they don't. But when you bring up the fact that Guillermo Rigondeaux went up 2 weight classes, he was inactive than a motherfucker. You know what I mean? When you bring up that shit, people want to turn around and say all them excuses, all those excuses. Like fuck that. Look, one thing I learned in my life, man, people will get you fucked up. People will get you fucked up. They ain't got no problem getting you fucked up. You know what I mean? So it's up to you as an intelligent individual to do what's necessary to be done for yourself. Look, I can't listen to these motherfuckers because they ain't got no problem seeing me fucked up. Let me go ahead and turn around and do what I need to do in order to be successful. You know what I mean? That Guillermo Rigondeaux Lomachenko fight, that shit shouldn't have happened at no motherfucking 130 pounds. You know what I mean? So, you know, all this coward shit, you know, all that old bullshit y'all talking about, y'all motherfuckers running y'all mouth about, to me, it's stupid. It's stupid. You wouldn't fight nobody with 2 broken legs, cataracts in your eyes. No, you wouldn't just fight nobody like that. You wouldn't run out just because they like, yo, I want to fight. Like, no, man. That's how you get yourself killed. That's how you get yourself fucked up. And for what reason? If you would have waited a few hours until your shit was back online, then you would have came back to the table and you would have had a much better chance of winning. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Some of these motherfuckers, man, you know, I don't know if they really believe the shit that they saying or if they're trying to put up a front. I don't really know. But what I do know is I definitely want the fight to happen, but I want the fight to happen at the right time. I want the fight to happen when both fighters are prepared, when both fighters are ready, at the top of their game. I don't want the fight to happen when one is prepared and the other one isn't. I want Keith to be fully off of his injury and ready to step into the ring. I want Errol Spence to be active and ready to step into the ring when that fight happens. You know what I mean? You know. And all this scared shit, if you gonna call Keith Thurman scared, then you better call Errol scared, because every time motherfucking somebody bring up Terrence Crawford to this dude, he act like he don't understand the question. Oh man, I don't deal with him, you know what I mean? I don't, you know what I mean? Like, he talk about Terrence Crawford kind of like how y'all say Keith Thurman talk about Errol Spence. But see, the thing that y'all don't understand is these dudes are professionals. These dudes have an agenda. They have an agenda that they trying to push. They have things that they trying to do. It's not that they don't want to fight, but they have things that they trying to accomplish. So, I mean, you know, like I said, man, you know what I mean? Like I said, man, take everything into consideration when y'all start talking shit, man.